fuck YouTube, fuck Israel, free Palestine, free the United States from this pro-Israel lobby occupation. But I don't want to further increase the risk of this channel being removed. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be uploading videos on Rumble, X, and BitChute, maybe Odyssey, I don't know, maybe Truth Social. And then I'm just going to let you guys know, hey, latest video's up. If you want to watch it, cool. If you don't want to watch it, that's also fine. And that's it. If you want to join me on Rumble, if you want to subscribe to me on Rumble and or BitChute and or X, great. If you don't want to, it was nice knowing you. Thanks for joining my channel anyway. We had a good run, and that's it. That is fucking it. I got no other fucking choice because YouTube is such bullshit. All right, everyone. So I got suspended by YouTube for 1 week. 1 week of suspension from YouTube for a video that I did in which I talked about how I became disillusioned with Israel after years of being raised to be a Zionist. And according to YouTube, that video was justifying racism, supremacism, and violence. Which race was I saying was supreme? Which race did I declare to be supreme? Never once in that video did I justify racism, supremacism, violence, none of that stuff. This is what I hate about YouTube. And I've been on YouTube since I was in high school. I've been YouTubing for a very long time. And one thing that I know about YouTube is that it is very, very selective on who it imposes its rules on. It's very selective on who it punishes. I'll give you guys an example of what I'm talking about here. Dave Smith recently interviewed Nick Fuentes. And Dave Smith in that same interview says, I can understand why some people are pushed to the point where they say, fuck the Jews.
Let me try to put myself in the perspective of like when you were talking, it really hit home with me when you were talking to Patrick Bet David about Ben Shapiro quote tweeting you and like how fucked up that is, dude, to like go after someone and say you're so young at the time. And like there is, so like I understand like getting pushed to the level of like, fuck the Jews. Like I get it.
I'm not saying that I think Dave Smith should be punished by YouTube. I don't think his channel should be pulled down or deactivated. I don't think Dave Smith should be suspended. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that could easily be interpreted as justifying anti-Semitism, racism. So why isn't that video taken down, but my video gets taken down? And then you look at someone like Dennis Prager. Dennis Prager did an interview with, what's his name? David Rubin or whatever his name is, that homosexual Zionist guy, Dave Rubin. He does an interview with Dave Rubin back in 2017. I've talked about this many times. And in that interview, Dennis Prager says that the Bible says that men can sexually enjoy boys as much as they can with girls. He actually says this.
The Bible said, men, you are as happy with boys. I don't mean 8-year-olds, 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
Just as a grown man is happy with a 15-year-old girl.
Now, I reported Prager. I reported that video to YouTube. That video didn't get taken down. Now, YouTube says, well, we want our website to be a safe space for people. Why isn't Prager's video or Dave Rubin's interview with Prager taken down? Why? Is that not a sick fucking thing to say? That the Bible teaches that? And that video doesn't get taken down. But my video, in which I'm warning people about Nazism, racism, all this stuff, that video gets taken down. Isn't that weird? Doesn't that just strike you as pretty fucking strange? That YouTube is so selective on who it punishes, on who it imposes its rules. It's very selective on which videos it removes, who it suspends. Norman Finkelstein was justifying October the 7th. And he called the October the 7th attack something like, what was it? An orgy of vengeance or some shit like that. He gave it this crazy name.
It was an orgy of vengeance. It was an orgy of vengeance, which I think was true. It was born of that chasm between who they were, who they aspired to be, and this hapless fate of being born into slavery or born into a concentration camp. If that sounds like, the French expression, to understand is to excuse. If that sounds like excusing, well, guess what? Excuse me. But I think it's the truth.
They were saying October the 7th was this massacre, right? And it was a massacre. I mean, civilians were killed. That's a fact. How many of those civilians were killed by Israel? Israel doesn't want to give us that number yet, but there was definitely atrocities that were done on October the 7th. Norman Finkelstein justifies it. Couldn't that be interpreted, at least fucking interpreted by YouTube as, I don't know, justifying violence and racism, anti-Semitism? Why wasn't that video taken down by YouTube? I didn't break any rules. I never justified racism, never justified violence. In fact, in that video that YouTube that YouTube said broke the rules, I was warning about racism. I was warning people about the revival of Nazism. For a huge chunk of that video, I was telling people, listen, Nazism is being revived. And what I said in my video is that you have Zionists, pro-Israel people, who want racism to come back. And I talked about American Renaissance, which is probably America's biggest racist organization, or at least one of America's biggest racist organizations. And I talked about how there are people in American Renaissance who are pro-Israel, who are Zionists. You have Zionists and pro-Israel folks who are racist and who are advancing the cause and the agenda of racism. This is what I was saying. I was warning people about racism. And I was talking about the revival of Nazism. And I was talking about how the migrant crisis of 2014 and 2015 was being used as a catalyst to revive ultranationalism and racism in Europe. And according to YouTube, that video is justifying racism and supremacism and violence. Like, what the hell? And I, of course, I appealed this imposition of this rule by YouTube. I appealed it, and YouTube got back to me within less than an hour, probably within 15 minutes or so, to tell me, nope, our ruling stands, our decision stands. We are not going to reverse our decision. That video will remain gone and you will be suspended. That's it. You are being suspended for a week. You can't post videos. You can't live stream. You can't even freaking do any sort of posts on your page to let your audience know that you're suspended. Nothing. You're suspended for a week for doing things that you didn't do. for breaking the rules that you didn't break, that you did not break. I didn't break any rules in that video. Nowhere did I justify racism. And YouTube said there's a part of the video where you broke the rules, where we feel that you were doing hate speech. Really? Which part? And YouTube said, here's the part. It's this part of the video. So I watched that part of the video that they claim I was promoting racism. And so I listened to it, and it's the part of the video where I say, Hitler's going to be making a comeback. This is what I say in this part of the video. Hitler will be making a comeback. Nazism will be revived, and Israel will be destroyed. Well, these are all predictions. But here's the thing. Other people have made the same type of prediction. For example, Eric Weinstein goes on to the Piers Morgan show recently, and he says, I think we are facing the beginning of the end of Israel.
What is going on in the Middle East is the beginning of World War III, with Iran I think, very carefully calibrating a message of violence where the threat to Tel Aviv was calibrated. And my belief is that the amount of damage that could have been inflicted on Tel Aviv far exceeds what was. And that Iran is trying to speak violence as the most skilled speaker of that language, with the possible exception of Vladimir Putin. And that, unfortunately, people, as a result of being relatively long at peace, people have forgotten what violence means as a language. And so when Iran originally set hypersonic missiles into the ground of Israel, killing almost no one, many Israelis responded by saying, you see how incompetent they are? They couldn't kill any of us. And the Iranians must have just been shaking their heads and saying, my gosh, you guys have no idea. We're sending you a message that Iron Dome doesn't work fully for hypersonics. I think what's going on is that you're looking at the beginning of the end. This, once those things are loaded with nuclear weapons, you are talking about a completely different world, and you just saw the beginnings of it. This is the slow roll into a new world where we watch hypersonic missiles slam into a populated metropolis. I lived in Israel for 2 years, and Har means mountain, and there's a place called Megiddo where there's a mountain, and Har Megiddo is where we get the word Armageddon. So Armageddon is just a turnoff in Israel. And, the world has never, civilization has never ended due to thermonuclear warfare. So it's in no one's data set. So everyone who's data driven says, I wouldn't worry so much about it, because they're just not getting it.
But Eric Weinstein is okay. Piers Morgan's video is not taken down. Why is that? Why is my video taken down, but not Piers Morgan's video taken down? Because Piers Morgan has been selected as, well, a member of the club. His channel is really big. It brings in money. And that's it. Theodore is not a member of the club. He's not part of the club. And I have a conspiracy. I can't fully prove this. I can't really prove this at all. This is just my suspicion. This is me just being a Middle Eastern conspiracy theorist, because Middle Eastern people love conspiracies. I think that there is an entire structure behind YouTube and behind who becomes famous on YouTube, who gets the big audiences on YouTube. And that structure determines who gets the big audience, who gets the big subscribers, all that stuff. And when certain people say certain things that could be interpreted as breaking the rules, well, they remain on YouTube. Why? Why do they remain on YouTube? Well, I really can't think of any other explanation other than that those people are chosen to be representatives of a specific political cause, of a specific political position and or opinion. So why is it that I can say something and I get punished, but other people can say similar things and nothing happens to them? Why is that? I can't think of any other explanation other than that there is a club and I ain't in it. That's it. There's a club. So Theodore is critical of Israel and he says things that are similar to what other people have said, but he's not part of the club. And it looks like his audience is growing, but we don't really want this guy to get too big. So we're just going to squash that bug before it gets bigger. And I think that's what happens. I can't think of any other explanation other than that. I could say, I think Russia is going to be destroyed. I think that in the future, there's going to be a massive Western coalition against Russia, and they're going to collectively declare war on Russia. And I think they're just going to destroy Russia. I think Russia will be destroyed. Is YouTube going to give a shit if I say Russia's going to be destroyed? No. They don't give a fuck. Because Russia is the enemy, according to NATO. Russia is the fucking nemesis of America. It is. Russia, listen, if you ever played the game Resident Evil, I'm a big fan. I got freaking Ashley Graham on my shirt and Leon Kennedy. What's the big bad guy in Resident Evil that just follows you around? the Nemesis or whatever it's called. There's a in Resident Evil 2, there's this giant zombie creature that just follows you around screaming stars. And in the Resident Evil 2 remake, you have to run away from this thing, and you can hear him walking, and you can hear his steps getting louder. It's very, very ominous, very creepy. It's one of the best parts about the Resident Evil 2 remake. But that is Russia, according to America. Russia is the great nemesis to the United States. And YouTube is controlled by Google. It's owned by Google. And Google is controlled by the United States. So YouTube is just a media arm of America. And so if I say, hey, I think Russia's going to be destroyed, YouTube doesn't give a shit. Why doesn't YouTube give a shit? Because, well, according to America's geopolitics, Russia's the big grand enemy. So it's okay to say, I think Russia will be destroyed. But if I say, I think Israel's going to be destroyed, racism. If I said, hey, listen, I think the Gulf Arab lobby is too powerful. It's way too powerful, guys. Listen, we got the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, giving weapons to the rapid support forces in Sudan. They're doing a fucking genocide as we speak, by the way. One of the biggest humanitarian crises in the world is in Sudan. It is. You know, the Israelis keep saying this to deflect from their fucking crimes in Gaza, but it's a fact. There is the biggest humanitarian crisis is in Sudan, and tons of people have been butchered. And right now, the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, is trying to overthrow the Sudanese government. And they've been butchering people like chickens. They've butchered countless people. They butchered people in all sorts of places in Sudan, in Darfur. They're killing people. They killed people in a place called Al Fasher. I think it's called Al Fasher. And then there's another place called El Janina, and they butchered like 15,000 people in Al Janina. Mass rapes. I mean, it's Nanking over there. It is fucking horrific what's happening in Sudan. And the RSF is doing a lot of the atrocities in Sudan, the Rapid Support Forces. Who's arming the RSF? It's the UAE, right? The UAE is arming the RSF, a bunch of murderers and rapists. And the UAE is a major ally of the United States. Now, why doesn't the United States do something about this and say, UAE, stop fucking arming rapists? America doesn't do shit. Why not? It's very simple, because it's the UAE. The United States doesn't do anything against the UAE, because the UAE is a major ally to the United States. The UAE is also a vital geopolitical asset to the American empire. Why do I say this? Because the UAE is next to something called the Strait of Hormuz. All right, if you look at a map, there's something called the Strait of Hormuz, which is a maritime territory that lies between the UAE and Iran. Now, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most major transit points for the exportation of oil on Earth. A lot of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has partial control over it. The UAE also has partial control over it. And so America doesn't want to lose the Strait of Hormuz, which means America does not want to lose the UAE. So the UAE got America by the balls. And why is the UAE arming a bunch of rapists and mass murderers? Well, because Sudan got a lot of something called gold. They got a huge amount of something called gold. And we all know how much bitches love gold. They love that shit. Now, if I did a video saying, hey, I think the Arab lobby is pretty evil. Why doesn't America do something against the UAE? Because there's a powerful Arab lobby. And we don't want to lose the UAE because we don't want to allow Iran to fully control the Strait of Hormuz. So we're backing the UAE against Iran. And so that's why we just allow the UAE to get away with what it's doing. Now, if I do a video saying that, is YouTube going to say, hey, you're justifying racism because you're implying that there's this powerful cabal of Arabs that has undue influence and control over the United States? Nobody would give a shit. YouTube wouldn't give a shit. No one's going to say I'm anti-Semitic for saying that, even though the Arabs are Semites. And arguably, they're more Semitic than a lot of the people in Israel. I mean, they didn't come from fucking Poland. So, it's bullshit. I can do a video about the UAE, and I can say, I think there's a powerful Arab lobby somewhere. YouTube's not going to say anti-Semitism. No. It's only when you bring up Israel that this accusation comes up. It's only when you do videos about Israel that you really put yourself at risk here. You start doing not only, but it's one of the few subjects that you can bring up where you really put yourself at risk of being deplatformed. You start doing videos about Israel and the Israel lobby and all that stuff. Listen, it doesn't matter how much you follow the rules. You can still get fucked by YouTube. You put yourself at risk of being deplatformed. There's a 50% chance that YouTube is just going to arbitrarily say, you know, we really don't like your video and it's anti-Semitic, and so goodbye. So it's like, what is the point of staying on YouTube? Really, what is the point of staying on this channel where I have a 50% chance of being deplatformed because I want to express my views about Israel? And at the same time, you have other people that are saying things that are either similar to what you're saying, or they're saying things that are much more spicy, so to speak, and nothing's happening to them. You can have Dave Smith saying, yeah, I can understand why people say fuck the Jews. I don't see YouTube punishing him. You can have Eric Weinstein saying, I think Israel's going to be destroyed. I don't see YouTube saying, hey, this sounds like you're justifying violence. Let's take the video down. Dennis Prager says horrific and vile things in the Dave Rubin show. Nothing happens. I reported Prager, and I even gave YouTube the exact minute mark where he says it, where he says that evil, vile stuff about children. And YouTube didn't do shit. But I say, hey, here's my prediction. I think Nazism is going to be revived. I think Israel's going to be doomed. Anti-Semitism. It's bullshit. So what is the fucking point of staying on YouTube? It's a great place to grow an audience. And I love my core audience. I really do. This is, out of all the channels that I've ran on YouTube, this has been my most favorite audience, truly. I had a bunch of whack jobs in my first channel. Second channel was similar. Third channel was great. A lot of people from Poland, and Polish people are cool. Now this channel that I'm running now, by far, has the best core audience that I've ever had. I've had this audience that I've had is by far the most intelligent audience I've ever had. Very intelligent. You guys ask great questions. I don't get so many of these lunatic Zionist freaks and Christian Zionist evil people. I don't get so many of those people anymore, thank God. My subject matter, my content, I think, has pushed those people away, thank God. But this audience that I have is very good. But the thing is, I don't want to make great content for you guys knowing that there's a 50% chance, literally there is a flip of a coin chance of it being removed. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move to Rumble, and I'm going to move to BitChute and X. I'm going to upload my videos on those three platforms. And I'm going to be uploading videos, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to let you guys know when my videos have been uploaded. I'm going to say, guys, I'm going to go on my page, I'm going to put a link to the video, and I'm going to say, here's a link to my latest video. It's on BitChute, it's on Rumble, it's on X. Watch it. And if you want to join me on Rumble, if you want to subscribe to me on Rumble and or BitChute and or X, great. If you don't want to, it was nice knowing you. Thanks for joining my channel anyway. We had a good run, and that's it. No hard feelings. And that's it. That's all I'm really left to do. YouTube, the way that it functions, the way that it organizes itself, the way that it imposes rules, has really left me no choice but to just go to the channels that have very little censorship. Channels like Rumble, BitChute, X, maybe Odyssey, I don't know, maybe Odyssey. If you live in France, you cannot access Rumble. Rumble is illegal in France, but you can access BitChute, you can access X, for now at least. Who knows what's going to happen. But that's what I'm going to do. I want this channel to remain in existence. I don't want to give more reasons to YouTube to take me down. There is still a chance that this channel will be taken down anyway. Who knows? Because YouTube doesn't have any sort of limit on how far back it can go in your video uploading history to punish you. It can pull a video up from 3, 4, 5 years ago and say, we've decided that this video breaks TOS. Oh, okay. Goodbye. So who knows what's going to happen. But I don't want to further increase the risk of this channel being removed. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be uploading videos on Rumble, X, and BitChute, maybe Odyssey, I don't know, maybe Truth Social. And then I'm just going to let you guys know, hey, latest video's up. If you want to watch it, cool. If you don't want to watch it, that's also fine. And that's it. That is fucking it. I got no other fucking choice. Because YouTube is such bullshit. It's a great place to grow an audience, don't get me wrong. Wonderful place to grow an audience. But the way that the pro-Israel lobby is working, the way that Israel is trying to control social media, is being done where it's very obvious and you can see the pro-Israel pressure reflected in how YouTube imposes its rules. Certain people get punished, certain people don't. I guess if you're not part of the club, you can get punished. If you are part of the club, then you're cool. And that's it. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. YouTube was designed as a place where self-expression can be democratized. That was the whole point. Because before YouTube, everything was gatekept, right? If you wanted to be on television, if you wanted to be on the news, you had to have connections. Bottom line, everything was gatekept. Once YouTube was created, then it gave a voice to people. It allowed people to just start a channel, and if they had a camera and a microphone, they could do videos and express themselves, and that was it. But now that YouTube is really just a massive part of the media, it's the biggest part of the media, what I've noticed is YouTube is heavily gatekept. Now, again, anyone can still create a channel and do videos. And if they're small fry, I mean, the chances of them getting deplatformed are pretty small, because in order to be deplatformed, you have to be reported. And if you don't have a big enough audience, who the fuck's going to report you? But if you get big enough, if you start actually growing in your audience and you start expressing opinions that are against the mainstream, against Israel, then there's always a chance, even if you're following the rules, there's always a chance that you're going to be deplatformed. And I just hate that. I hate that capriciousness about YouTube. It's the capriciousness. I love my core audience. I think you guys are awesome. I love doing live streams, but I just hate the instability and the unpredictability of YouTube. I really hate the fact that I have to do this, but YouTube has left me no choice. And all of this is really the result of the pro-Israel lobby trying to control social media. Netanyahu really showed his cards when he said, hey, we really, really have to control social media because we're losing the information war. And YouTube knows this. And so you see certain people just getting punished on YouTube. So that's it. I've talked long enough. And I just want to end this video by saying, fuck YouTube, fuck Israel, free Palestine, and free the United States from this pro-Israel lobby occupation. Anyway, guys, you guys just heard some theology. God bless.